Hi everybody, my name is Soul and you are watching the greatest channel on YouTube. And I don't know if you guys have heard of this small little anime called Demon Slayer, but I watched the latest season, also known as the Entertainment District arc, and I've got a couple things to say about it. And oddly enough, I haven't talked about Demon Slayer on this channel or on the internet at all, because after I watched season 1, I wanted to make this big boy video. It was going to be the video to end all videos, but due to the other flood of videos I was making at the time, I put my Demon Slayer on the forbidden back burner list where videos go to die. But I'm not going to miss the opportunity that I had in 2019. In 2019, if you remember, nobody would shut the fuck up about Demon Slayer. You could be Helen Keller floating in the vacuum of space, and you probably would still know who your favorite Hashira is. That's how big Demon Slayer was. And you want to know when I finally decided to watch it? It's around the time that the Crunchyroll Awards were happening, and they were naming their anime of the decade, and Demon Slayer won. Anime of the decade. And I couldn't help but think at the time, wow, everyone just has recency bias. Demon Slayer, a show that came out at the very end of the decade, being the greatest show of that decade. The only reason Demon Slayer would have got anime of the decade is because anime fans' attention span lasts about 3 months. That being said, I decided I'd check out Demon Slayer. And number 2, Demon Slayer. Okay, so it might have become one of my favorite shows ever. Well played, internet. So the first time I had watched Demon Slayer, I was definitely slacking on my anime. My wife and I had our few shows we were watching, but me watching an entire show all the way through by myself, that was a task that could take weeks to months. I was burnt out and had little shows capturing my interest. Then I finished all 26 episodes of Demon Slayer in like 3 days. Now keep in mind, when I watched Demon Slayer, I just had my wisdom teeth taken out. I was in prime zombie mode. I just wanted to sit there, let my gums bleed, and inject my veins with the best anime content I could. And the story of Tanjiro becoming a demon slayer, trying to aid his demon-turned sister, and all the wonderful moments within that first season, they teleported me to another world. But unlike whatever shitty isekai that came out this week, this world was fun. This world was beautiful. This world was entertaining. Demon Slayer had a lot of the tropes that made it an easy watch for me. It's a shonen show. It has a lot of action, teenage boy shit I love. There's a lot of emphasis on getting stronger, learning new techniques, crushing your limits. Those themes, they're in every single shonen show imaginable. The power of friendship is a concept that has been drilled into my spinal fluid at this point. But in Demon Slayer, these themes have weight to them. Tanjiro trains more believably than any other shonen character I know. The gaps in Tanjiro's power aren't multiplied to the 5th power between arcs, and when he gets chopped down, he sells his injuries, and his desperation is harder than any other character I've seen in anything. It works, and throughout these fights, I just want the good guys to win. I just want my good boy to feel some victory. I want more than nothing else for the good guys to win the fight. The animation, as you can see, is god tier. There are few things that will catch my eye faster than Demon Slayer did. Everything from the excellent character designs, the fuck all crazy fight scenes, to the actual shot composition, the editing. It's all spectacular. There's a film quality animation that will only dip for a couple comedy gags that are meant to be seen as your crude anime comedy gags, but even those have a little extra bit of care and timing. Every fiber of this show feels like it was pressured for and ironed until there was nothing left but a perfect canvas. I'm still talking about season 1 here. I gave Demon Slayer a 10 out of 10, which I don't think I've ever since my childhood given an anime a 10 out of 10. Not only that, I didn't hesitate, I didn't think about it, I just knew immediately this show was a 10 out of 10. And that's how gay I am for Demon Slayer, and that did not stop when Infinity Train came out. I watched that movie in theaters 2 times, one dubbed, one subbed. I have a review for that over on Soul Show. Go check that out and subscribe if you want more lax and easy baked videos. But Infinity Train was great, and I obviously had to get my fix, get my Demon Slayer high again, so I stumble into the manga. And when reading the Demon Slayer manga, something happened to me that has never happened when reading manga before. I pick it up and I get all the way to the Infinity Train. I'm finally caught up. I can progress in the story. I don't gotta wait for the anime anymore. In one chapter into this very arc, the Entertainment District arc, I stopped entirely. I didn't just drop it. This was like in a panic. I put that shit down and locked it away. That wasn't because it was bad or anything like that. It just wasn't as good. Anyone can notice that the Demon Slayer manga looks very different from the anime. Not a lot of people know this, but Ufotable actually hires genies and sorcerers who can enter the hyperbolic time chamber at will to animate their shows, and it shows. Their animation is spectacular. And Demon Slayer has a pretty kick-ass story, but it's not the driving force for me. Little things like, I don't know, color, animation, voice acting, the culmination of all this is why I love Demon Slayer. Which obviously I just have a child brain. My imagination stat on my RPG sheet, it's not very high, so just the black and white manga panels with no music or voice acting, it just doesn't hit as hard for me. I'm sorry, but the anime is for me. So yes, I dropped the manga because at that point, it was just a spoiler for the anime. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the manga is bad, but for me, if I'm going to enjoy a story, I want to do it in the format that gives me the most enjoyment, and especially for one as important to me as Kimetsu no Yaiba. But it's okay because I've learned with patience, good things will come. And if you have good things, the people will come. And come I did. 11 episodes. 11 grueling weeks. No more binge watching. I was back to watching weekly like the peasant I am. And it's amazing how quickly I was right back into the swing of things with this show. You know how it is when you're watching a new season of a show you watched years ago or whatever. There's a bit of sequelitis in there. You're hesitant. You're wondering who the fuck this guy is. Wait, how did this happen? No. None of that happened with Demon Slayer. We were on a new quest with Tanjiro and the gang, and they're taking it to the big city to kill some demons. It's a simple, easy story. Your mom can follow along, but guess what? Your mom might love it too. The entertainment arc begins when Tengen needs some sidekicks to go on his quest to go and rescue his 3 wives who have been kidnapped. And yes, I said that. He has 3 wives. This is what they look like. Forget demons, this guy is slaying more pussy than most harem protagonists combined, which, in fairness, isn't actually a lot. But I was very skeptical of Tengen taking the new role of a Hashira senpai, only because of the massive inferno-sized shoes Rengoku left for him. But Tengen, for a new character who only had 11 episodes to shine, did just that and more. The story of Tengen trying to save his wives who have been kidnapped is not a compelling one. If anything, it's just an excuse for us to run around and have big fights in this city. But again, the amount that they accomplish with 11 episodes in an otherwise very simple story is astounding. And it all leads up to a finale that is the granddaddy of finales. This spanks the ass of every other kick-ass fight scene at the end of any other show. This is the culmination of everything badass in the world. Episode 19 of Demon Slayer broke the internet. The Mugen Train ending had anime nerds coming on the walls of their local movie theater chains, and the last couple episodes from this arc is no different. As you can guess, we are soon hunted by another member of the 12 Kizuki, the highest upper ranked demons imaginable. Which, by the way, if you can't handle like minor spoilers, then fast forward the video or something. But I'm gonna be talking about Daki and Gyutaro. At first we meet Daki, who is bad enough. She is a femme fatale with enough strengths to knock out all of our heroes on their asses. She is bloodthirsty, she is menacing, and above all else, she is a royal class bitch. And then right when you think you've defeated her, you meet her hideous ass brother.
Emotional damage!
This guy's design speaks for himself. He is insane, vile, and probably the most intimidating enemy of Demon Slayer so far. These two being brother and sister gives Tanjiro and Nezuko a mirror of what they might look like if they gave in to the evil demon side. And like most bad guys in Demon Slayer, they have a whole sob story attached to their backstory. Demon Slayer's villains always hit. And the final battle of this arc is peak anime. My wife and I were just watching it at home like any other show, and I don't think in the history of our living room have we ever been more hyped or have screamed more at our television from our couch as much as those episodes of Demon Slayer. Episode 10 of Demon Slayer. I live for moments like this. And like I said, every fatal injury in Demon Slayer is sold incredibly well. You feel every hit. You don't believe the heroes are gonna win because they're just so stacked up against them. But the power scaling is much more interesting because Tanjiro is still very weak in the grand scheme of things. And if anything, makes the battles more intense and more desperate. And there's a moment in the show when people ask me why I like Demon Slayer. I'm just gonna be thinking of moments like this. It's a moment where Tanjiro's eyes are bleeding. Inosuke, Zenitsu, Nezuko, Tengen, they are all way past their limits. All is lost. The bad guy is just spitting in Tanjiro's face, calling him the worst things in the book. All hope is lost. I wouldn't blame Tanjiro if he just fucking bailed and got out of there. It is the most desperate time in the show, and go watch it. If you haven't already, just go watch it. And that's not to say I think this season is perfect. Hell, I still think season 1 is better, probably because it was longer and the characters had much more development. Not to mention their introductions, and the characters this season didn't do a whole lot. Inosuke had a lot of comedy gags where he's dressing as a woman, and those are good for a while, but that's not really like the highlight of this season. Zenitsu, who I've always kind of hated, takes it a bit easier. There are moments where I still get annoyed by Zenitsu, but whenever Zenitsu falls asleep, I forgive him. He was asleep longer than I have ever seen him in this season. He must have marathoned every straight-to-Netflix film in the past decade because he slept like no anime character has ever slept before. But definitely the show stealer for me this season was Nezuko. Until this season, Nezuko was Tanjiro's purpose for what he does. Tanjiro just wants to restore Nezuko's life to what it was and tries to not get eaten in the process. But in this season, we actually get a few scenes showing us what's actually brewing beneath Nezuko's mind. And I got to thinking more about the character. Tanjiro is a character who has chosen the selfless path. He chooses to work hard every fucking day to become a demon slayer, whereas Nezuko has no choice. Her options are literally fight in a demon body and try to go up against everything that your fiber is, or eat your brother and become a monster. And yeah, she's really emotional about it. Yeah, I still love the scenes where she's in her like little chibi avatar form, which by the way, this season has some of the best moments of that. And yes, I love her when she's a badass demon kicking ass, which by the way, this season has the best moments of that. Before, when I thought about the group, it was always Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu. I always thought of Nezuko as kind of like, oh yeah, there's a fourth member, but now it feels much more like it's Tanjiro and Nezuko, and Inosuke and Zenitsu are the sidekicks. I still love them both at the end of the day, Zenitsu much less. Last and certainly not least, I want to talk about my good boy, the best boy, Tanjiro. I've heard many people who just don't understand the hype behind Tanjiro. He's a Boy Scout, he's bland. But Tanjiro might be one of the best characters in anime, or at least he is for me. And I actually ran out of footage, so I'm gonna be finishing this up on the microphone. I'm used to my many shonen boys. They're fighting for their own selfish reasons to become stronger or to overcome the next hurdle. They do this with a smile on their face and with enough plot armor that Rock Lee would be over encumbered. Tanjiro is weak. He hates how weak he is because he needs to be better. He doesn't want to be better. He needs to be better. He wants to be a good brother. He wants to be a good friend. He wants to not constantly break his sword and receive an ass whooping over it. But Tanjiro's training montages feel unlike any other characters. His limits are still visible, but he crushes them in a way that is believable, but still unexpected. His fights pull every fiber being out of him and challenge him harder than any other character I've seen in fiction, and when the dust clears, he has genuine sadness and empathy for the people he just fought. And you can tell that Tanjiro cares about the demons. You can tell that he's carrying every single demon he's fought on his back, and he will until the end. And yes, he's a basic good guy who wants to be better and do better, but with 1,000 other characters, they never made me want to be better myself. Tanjiro is the type of dude that makes me feel bad about myself, because there are those people out there who genuinely would put themselves through hell to make things just a little bit better, and they don't ask for anything in return. And those people and Tanjiro make me want to be better too. I want to work as hard as Tanjiro. I want to be as passionate as Tanjiro. And I wouldn't mind being a badass water firebender who kicks all sorts of ass too. Tanjiro is God tier character. In short, Demon Slayer's newest season is just another stepping stone for this juggernaut of a show. Could I have asked for more? Yeah. I wanted more time with these awesome villains. I want the plot to expand and do more things, and I want to see more of the district before we set it ablaze. I wanted maybe a few more episodes and for it to not end as abruptly as it did, but these nitpicks are ultimately why it's not getting as high of a score as I gave season 1. But you have to consider season 1 is twice as long as this season, and it's one of the best introduction arcs I've seen in anime. But with all that being said, I'm about to hit you with the most hottest hot take in all of Hot Take Clan. This is going to be the take of the century. Demon Slayer is pretty damn good. 9 out of 10.